Well, maybe we should just start the open forum.
I like that idea. Since we don't have naked women available.
Nope, not over here.
So I'll start with pose a question. I was recently in an airport. I was It was very noisy, poor acoustics, and from about 500 feet away, I heard some piano music, and I could tell from 500 feet away it was probably a live piano. Why and how? And it was, turns out, was a piano right by the gate, and they were allowing anyone to play.
I'm reading an interesting book. Probably a lot of you have seen the ad for drugs, and it shows a picture of a frying pan with an egg cooking, and it says, "This is your brain on drugs." Well, the book I'm reading is called "This is Your Brain on Music," and it goes into a lot of the different elements of music, and it's going into how your brain reacts to that, the things that composers use to achieve uh, a sense of ease or a sense of distress, how you react to that. I'm less than a third of the way into the book, but it's a pretty interesting book. And part of what they talk about is why, when you hear live music versus recorded music reproduced anyway, that your brain is pretty good about picking out when it is live. And it's not just one element, it's a combination of many different elements. And those elements react in different parts of your brain too. Part of it is the speech part of your brain, part of it is even very subliminal, like almost learned uh, things that you pick up through your whole life. But it's an interesting book, and I would say it is um, it is at least bringing up some questions, if not coming up with all the answers.
I would agree with that, Tom. The easy answer is it's live because it's free of distortions. Or another way to put it, all reproduced music by definition is not naturally what we grew up. When I say grew up, I'm talking about thousands of years training our brain for.
But
And
I was in an environment with very poor acoustics. It was a terminal without high ceilings with a lot of ambient noise.
you've described most of the menus. And but somehow the live music, it's still, if it's not live, it's distorted.
Yeah, but you're getting to the point where with the right equipment, the distortion is so low.
Not, but again, your Tom, distortion is amplitude, not just frequency response, not just THD.
Also
We're
time,
talking about exactly. There's
but
a bunch of things that we may or may not have named, which include that the brain is still able to figure out a little bit better than our THD analyzers.
I think the more I get involved in this and the more I get involved in psychoacoustics, it only tells me one thing, that I know less and less the more I get into it as to how the brain works. And it's not only with music, but it's also with sight. And I was relating to somebody when they were talking about distortion and frequency response and everything. And I said, I'll give you an analog. The analog is prints, photographic prints. And at one point, I was working for a company that sold very high quality enlarging lenses. And we had a range of enlarging lenses, starting with a very cheap 3-element sort of giveaway when we sold an enlarger, to a 4-element lens, then to a 6-element high resolution, and an 8-element apochromatic where all the colors focused at the same spot. And you would assume every time you went up, when you made prints and you put them side by side, the people would always pick the one with the 8-element lens. And almost invariably, they picked the 4-element lens. The 3-element lens, there were enough problems that they could pick it out as not optimum. But the 4-element lens had the least amount of internal reflection and dispersion, fewer elements, and people picked up on that with color saturation and contrast. Had nothing to do with resolution, but they said those pictures look better. And we were very careful about making the prints. They were all exactly the same size. We had an 80% gray card in there so we could make sure the density on the prints was exactly the same. And a very, very high percentage of the people picked the 4-element lens, not the super resolution apochromat or the other lens. And it just made me, even back then, realize that it is not one particular element that moves your brain. It's a combination
Correct.
of a lot of things acting in different parts of your brain. And the old thought that, I forgot which one is the right and which is the left. One side of your brain is artistry and the other side is technical. And they're finding out that that's somewhat true, but not always. That a lot of these things that you would think would be coming from one side of the brain are actually utilizing both sides, and the cerebrum, the cerebellum, the medulla, all these different things that are affecting the way you react to sound. So all I got to say is, I don't know what's going on in your brain.
And I would occur 100%. We can only measure some things, and we've chosen, because it's easy, frequency response and distortion. I'm using distortion to include those elements that allows Ken, for example, to pick out a live piano in a horrible environment.
Yeah, and it's not just one thing, it's a combination
Correct.
of multiple things. I don't have a clue what they all are, what the weighting is.
Correct.
And it's interesting. He was saying that you could take certain types of music, and let's say you had a clarinet and you had a saxophone or some other woodwind, and he found that if you truncate the starting and the ending parts and just kept the middle part of the tone, it was very difficult for people to tell the difference. Don't know why. Again,
that may have to do with dynamic range, because the attack is probably the largest range.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. And when you take that off and you get into the continuous part, it makes it more difficult. People had a harder time differentiating. Interesting reading, but it's not easy reading.
The same unknowns apply to eyes, or what we see, or vision.
Exactly.
We have, given what we know about the construction of the eye, we can't understand why we can see so many colors.
Well, the eye is a terrible camera.
Correct.
Huge amounts of spherical aberration. The image is upside down on the retina, but it's got this wonderful processor that has had a lifetime of telling you what it wants you to see.
That's right.
And it's the same thing your brain tells you what it wants you to hear. And it makes certain assumptions based on what's happened before and the type of music. And like I was saying, a lot of the composers use that to violate, your rules and come up with things that catch your attention.
What I always am horrified by, we all fly on airplanes, and you can never understand quite what the pilot is saying. And that's a very controlled environment. Why don't they have better loudspeakers, or in airplanes even? I mean,
you remember about 2 years ago, I found a sound system at CES that demonstrated much improved clarity in the London Underground by carefully controlling the phases of the speakers, and it worked remarkably well. So the answer is, it can be done if anyone wants to spend the time to put it in.
Was it expensive?
I don't know.
I was very impressed. Normally, I don't like going to live concerts because the sound is so terrible. And I don't remember how long ago, but it was when I was living in Maryland. My wife and I went to see Roger Waters live, and they did The Wall.
Oh,
And
you
that
mean
was,
rock and roll?
pardon?
You mean rock and roll concerts?
Yeah, yeah, that's it's Pink Floyd.
Yeah, yeah.
If in The Wall, he was doing The Wall. But the thing that impressed me is that was the first time I heard a sound system in a hall that was intelligible and dynamic and relatively undistorted. And I found out later that they were using a lot of digital signal processing and steering of the speakers to make sure that the sound was the same in all positions and was time aligned as you went front to back, so you didn't get a lot of echoes.
Well, I commented on similar observations at Broadway theaters. When I first started going to theater in the 60s, the sound was pitiful, even back when I didn't know much about sound. You could hear the rustling of the microphone and the costumes, and there were dead spots around the hall. It was just terrible. Now, no matter where you sit, you generally get a good experience.
Yeah, so all the people that say the good old days, I don't think ever lived in the good old days. Or they never had a medical problem, that's for sure.
I attended a lecture by Renee Fleming at MIT a few years ago. This was right after I had seen her on Broadway in Carousel, and she commented on the value of the audio system for her as a singer. She said performing at the Met was exhausting because she had to project. Performing 8 times a week in a Broadway play was much easier because of all the acoustic help she gets.
By the way, a little aside, the last couple of times I went to a live concert, and I do that quite often here, I took along with me a very small condenser mic. In fact, let me see if I have it here. Yeah, this is the little condenser mic that I got from Parts Express, and it's an Omni, and it plugs with a little adapter, plugs into my iPhone, and I have an app on the iPhone that will recognize this. Now, as I got it, it the absolute intensity level was off by quite a bit, but I have a microphone calibrator, and the app allows you to put those corrections in there. So it now matches very closely to my Echo Pacific 7012, and the frequency response was quite good. But to make a long story short, I took it to several concerts. One, I was sitting uh, in the back of Tier 1 of Verizon Hall at the Kimmel Center with the Philadelphia Orchestra, and peak intensity was like about 101 to 102 dB. Then I went to a local group, a local orchestra, playing in a fairly large auditorium for a high school. And there I was only about 6 rows back. And again, even with this much smaller orchestra, I was getting peak readings of about 100 dB. So for people that are talking about the brain and how it reacts to music, certainly dynamics is very important, because if you are at a live performance like that, to get 100 to 105 dB, relatively undistorted, is very impressive to your brain and actually to your body as well, the tactile sense. So it is, I think, pretty important to realize that if you are going to get a sense of the dynamics of a live orchestra, you got to have the ability to reproduce from very quiet levels to very high levels.
So last Saturday, I took my family to the Boston Symphony to hear the Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra. There were 9 of us there, and we got center seats in the balcony, which I had been told by the sound engineer when we had a meeting at Symphony Hall, that was the best seats in the house as far as he was concerned. The sound was spectacular, but I had a chance to look around the orchestra, and I was horrified to see there was a soundboard in the middle of the floor. And I asked the people, what in the world do you need this for in one of the most acoustically perfect auditorium in the world? And the guy muttered, well, he said, our audience likes it loud. What can I say?
What was it? Classical music?
Yeah, it was all strings, about 75 string players ranging in age from 6 years old to teenagers, and they were superb.
What's really bad is when you have a significant portion of the orchestra acoustic, not reinforced, and then you have a choir, and they put reinforcement on the choir. And I was in Baltimore at a symphony there, and it was horrendous because the choir with the mics and the speakers in the hall were totally out of sync with the rest of the music in terms of amplitude, in terms of timing. It was horrible. And unfortunately, that seems the way people are going. Like you're saying, Ken, they want it loud, or they want the pinpoint accuracy of these different parts. And I think fortunately, at least for the Philadelphia Orchestra, that hasn't happened yet.
So when we had a meeting at BSO, David, I remember you had taken to task an engineer from WGBH for compressing the audio. Here's your chance to take on the management of BSO itself.
Well, he said it won't do any good to complain. So there.
Well, I want to concur with Tom about dynamic range. And the question is, Tom, 105 dB peaks can you listen to an orchestra at that level in a home listening room?
If it is clean and undistorted, and especially if you've controlled early reflections, the answer is yes. There are a lot of things that can give you a problem. Obviously in the orchestra, you have this huge sense of space. And in a room like I have, which is basically 16 by 20, you're never going to get that sense of involvement that you get in a live performance. But you can certainly, if the recording is good, handle those levels. And I've measured those levels here in my room. And I would not say I would want to listen to some heavy metal at that level through the whole song. But those occasional peaks that get up to 100 or 105 dB, yes, you can do that. And if the system is clean, you have enough power so you're not clipping, your speakers have enough linear volume displacement, they can handle it without huge amounts of distortion. In my opinion, yes.
I concur. I've also measured peaks like that. But I think the difference would be heavy metal concert versus a classical piece at 105 dB. I think
even that at 80 dBs is too much for me. So
yeah.
And I think a sustained 105 dB will damage your hearing.
Oh, for sure. If it was going even with although I'll tell you, sitting there at both of these last two performances, there were significant periods of time where they were in the 90s. Not the whole thing. I would say maybe 20% of the whole performance. They got up into the 90s, certainly not into the hundreds for that. Hundreds were, short peaks.
That's a screech of a subway train.
Well, yeah, if you talk about that frequency distribution, yes. But if you're talking about an orchestra, no. I would say level, but not the same impact on your brain.
Well, as I mentioned at a previous meeting, I saw a company at last year's CES show who had music blasting on the show floor at 105 dB, And I told the guy, this is painful. And he said, but it's clean. It won't injure you.
Wow.
Sounds like dragon fire.
Yeah, you can be sitting next to a machine gun that is live, and it's very quote clean, and it'll destroy your hearing very quickly. So it's and especially impulse noise. If you've got a hammer hitting something, even though the total time is not so great, impulse noise is very, very damaging compared to steady state.
You have to wear earplugs.
Yeah, if I go to anywhere, I always have my automotive research,
Yep.
R12s or whatever they are.
Yep.
I do that every time I fly.
I had
You mean in the
one
plane?
case where I forgot to take them, and I was taking pieces of Kleenex and rolling it up and stuffing my ears with it. It was so bad.
Ken, you meant you wear your earplugs in the plane?
Yeah, as a passenger.
Okay.
I land with less of a headache than I used to.
I used to do an awful lot of flying, and I always had two things that were absolutely essential: my earplugs and my eye shades. And between the two of those, I could lean back and go to sleep. But otherwise, you're right. The background noise in a plane is very disturbing, at least to me. And of course, and Al, you were talking about, I think it was you that were talking about why, or was it you, Ken, that you can't hear the pilot on the plane a lot of times, and that may be a benefit because if he's going to tell you you're going to crash, you probably don't want to know.
Actually, when I have earplugs on, I hear my neighbors chatting more clearly.
Yeah.
Well, I flew recently and the pilot was pretty intelligible, so maybe it varies from plane to plane or company to company. I don't know.
And the age of the plane and the speakers they put in and etc.
This was a 737-800. So
It's
not
a
too,
newer plane.
yeah, I believe. So, and I made it in one piece.
Yeah, that's the miracle part. Well, I vowed that every time I get on a Max to take along some duct tape with me. So I can run over to the door and tape it in.
Where is your parachute?
Yeah, that's right.
Some of the stuff that's happening on planes is pretty ugly, but when you look at the number of people miles flown every year, it's not a bad way to travel.
No one disputes that, but the point is, why should we put up with crashes if we don't have to? I mean, that doesn't say that Boeing has a license, therefore, to kill only 0.1% of its
Well, if you're really obsessive about this, there are a whole bunch of YouTube videos analyzing in excruciating detail what caused plane crashes.
There's also been a TV series called Air Disasters, and they look at crashes all over the world, and they've been doing that for years. And the vast majority of them are not mechanical. The vast majority are stupidity.
Yeah.
You mean pilot errors?
Yeah.
Pilot error, ground error, people trying to commit suicide by taking a plane down. The planes actually, with all their foibles, and especially that 737 Max. They were in uncharted territory as far as the control, trying to make things better, which made it worse. But the vast majority of planes are really, really safe. And this one guy now is talking about the 787, and he expects them to break apart in the air. I've been in planes during bad storms where people who were stupid and didn't have their seatbelts on were flying around in the cabin, and nothing happened to the plane. other than the mess that the people
Mhm.
flying around in the cabin made.
Yeah, of the accident YouTube videos I've seen, most of the problems have been communicating between the captain and the first officer. They just didn't have good flight management, or it was an overconfident pilot who sort of cut corners, thought he could not, wouldn't have to go around. He could just dive the plane to the runway.
That's the biggest part of it. The human element.
Or someone who just got up on the wrong side of the bed, was upset and angry and ignored some of the basic elements of flying a plane. There's a lot of details they have to take care of in terms of the automated systems. One misprogramming and they get a warning, and they get warnings pile on warnings, and they start ignoring them.
It's easy to get tunnel vision in a case like that, and that's what happens. They get focused on one thing and they ignore all the other things that could probably help them get out of it, and it doesn't work.
Oh, Nick, were you going to talk about the Expona?
Just trying to unmute there. Only very briefly. I went to the Axpona show like last week and saw a lot of cool stuff. But one thing I went there for, and I would like to mention to start something for not this meeting. Uh, I was invited as a representative of the Boston Audio Society, and other groups were also invited. Organization called the AudiophileFoundation.org, and I put it up on the chat box here. They are a audio society that wants to start a meta audio society. They were talking to us audio society representatives about having us becoming chapters of their group and the benefits that would accrue and flow from that. And there may be some. There may be some detriments. They are seeking alliances with streaming vendors, for example, to get discounts for their members. They were an audio society, are an audio society based in San Francisco, and they're apparently very large. They're quite active. They're very social, which maybe what we are not. But at any rate, they have hosted their organization on a piece of software whose name I don't remember. I wrote it down somewhere, but at any rate, it's an expensive chunk of software. It was like $6,000 or something, but it manages their membership, member profiles, emails, research, sort of a chat rooms and stuff like that. And who knows? It may have some interest to us, and I recommend that you check out audiophilesociety.org, see what they are, and see if there's any interest or there's any fit between us and them. Right now, the way we do our business is Dave Hadaway handles email, for example, and John Hajinian handles membership, and other people handle the editorial functions of the BAS speaker. And the software that these guys use brings all that together and would allow you to post a question to a group or to find somebody who has a profile that includes a certain tube amplifier. I mean, and if this kind of research, these kind of contact opportunities are of interest, then maybe there's a fit for us. But that's something for discussion at a later time. I will be producing a meeting and a meeting summary out of it, and no sooner than May, and we will take it from there.
Nick, you just mentioned audiopilesociety.org, but in the
Yes.
chat you have Audiophile
Oh,
Foundation.
I'm sorry. It is that what's in the chat is correct. Audiophilefoundation.org. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for catching it. That's about all I got.
Well, how was the show? Was it as large as last year?
Bigger.
Bigger?
Um, I read in Stereophile that Stereophile expects it to be the biggest audio show around, the biggest audio show in the United States, which surprised me. It didn't surprise me. It was extremely tiring. The Schaumburg Renaissance, where it's held, is a convention center and hotel. And the way the show is set up, the convention center has, I don't know, I think they're called ballrooms. And there's 15 or 20 of those, and the really big vendors are in there. And they were very similar to the vendors last time, though well, 2 years ago actually, Klipsch was there with their new Jubilee Super cornerless speaker, and they weren't there this year. They might have had a smaller rooms. All the hotel rooms, and there's some suites with multiple rooms, were available to be rented as showrooms, and many of them were. There's 16 floors in this hotel. There's, I'm guessing, 300 rooms were used for demonstrating products and groups of products or constellations or whatever you want to call them. A turntable manufacturer paired up with an amplifier manufacturer paired up with a speaker manufacturer, for example, and there were a lot of things like that. So, man, it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show. It ends at 4 o'clock on Sunday. I left around 2 o'clock on Sunday, and I was dead tired. So it's a big show. I did not get to see or hear or whatever everything. Basically, I'm into speakers, and that's what I go looking for new concepts and designs and things like that. And I look at the exhibitor list and say, oh, here are some old friends I definitely got to see. And I saw a lot of people I know, contacts that we already have, and I saw bunches of new things, but I saw less than half of it. It's just not possible to see everything.
Was there video?
Uh, no, not really. Not in anything I went to see. It was incidental, if anything. They would have the rented rooms, as in they're like hotel rooms taken over. They're emptied out for demonstrations. Would have a TV, but the TV would be showing splash screens of the features of an amplifier, or the frequency response, or the DSP block diagram of something. So they would use incidental supporting information. There's nothing sold as here's a cool projector or anything like that.
Nick, did you get a chance to stop by the Danville Signal booth?
Yes, I did. Spent some time there.
Yeah. What did you think of the AB demonstration with the passive versus active?
It was quite interesting. Were you there?
No, I was not there,
Okay.
but I have one of their processors, the Nexus, the one he was using there.
Yep. It was very interesting. It was surprising and revealing. They were playing a pair of Magnapan LRSs, I think, small Magnapans. And they were applying significant correction that really changed the perspective of the sound and the spectrum of the sound. What they did when they turned their processor on, it brought the mid-range forward, it brought all the instruments and the image forward more into your face and more clear. I don't remember if they were using a subwoofer or not.
I
Um,
believe they were.
I thought so, but the Magnapans, which I like because of what they are and how they work, not necessarily because they're have all the other audiophile, distinction and low distortion and wide frequency range. They don't. But the Danville made significant, serious improvements to it. It was very enlightening to see DSP used that well, I would say. But their system is quite complex. The block diagram, there are several um, uh, different chains through, they separate the mid-range. It's a two-way speaker. Separate the mid-range tweeter from the woofer panel, and do custom DSP on both. And it was quite good. I was quite impressed.
The software they use on that is Audio Weaver, which is a hugely powerful but hugely complicated application. But what they do, which is similar to what DEQX does, is they have people who will fundamentally set up your system for you
Yeah.
based on some measurements, and then you can make individual corrections. And that's what I do here. The fundamental setup was done by Rich Hollis from HAL Labs. And then I made my own individual setups. But to try to get into any of these sophisticated DSP situations, from scratch is way over my head.
Yeah, one of the things I was interested to find out about, as I said, at Danville, they had the block diagram up on the TV screen. And I asked them, is this block diagram fixed or is it user configurable? I.e., I wanted to know how much control an end user would have of it. He says, oh, they can switch the block orders and processing any way they want. So their DSP engine has a compiler somehow that the user gets to use to change all that. But as you said, it's very complicated, and they do an initial tuning or configuration or whatever you want to call it for you first, because I would be lost with that stuff.
You're not alone.
It is not easy by any stretch of the imagination.
But the support on that is actually pretty good. I have an early adopter unit, and I've been working with it for quite a while. And I've had DEQX, I've had Behringer, I've had Mini DSP, I've had lots of other processors. The end result from this processor is much better in terms of low distortion, transparency. All of them will do the fundamental adjustments, any of them.
Right.
But I would just warn anybody who's getting involved with DSP that the old saying, be careful what you ask for, you might get it.
Yep.
And it is very easy to have a very powerful tool and totally screw everything up unless you really, really have a lot of experience with it.
Have you replaced your DEQX?
Yes, with the Danville unit. And I think, personally, I think it's superior in a number of things. And one of the things that has impressed me more than anything else is not how these wonderful audiophile recordings sound, but I have been able to listen to more just generic old recordings that I had that were somewhat objectionable to me before. And now with the Danville unit, they're not perfect recordings, but they're very listenable. Part of the grunge that was in some of the old recordings, it has essentially converted the grunge into detail and smoothness. So I'm able to listen to a lot of recordings that I have listened to in the past that I like, and I'm much happier with the results. And that unit has done it better than any of the other units. As far as flexibility, all of them are flexible. All of them give you all the control. I don't know what it is about the Danville unit, whether it's their filters, whether it's the AKM DACs. I have no idea.
Cost?
Yeah.
What does it cost?
I have the 8-channel version because I need 8 channels. The 8-channel version is $3,000, and that includes their setup, their initial setup. And in the world of high end, $3,000 for 8 channels worth of DAC and processing is
not very much.
It's not not out of range.
I think it's maybe like 5,000 plus now, but they were the most impressive demonstration I heard. The best DSP. Like you said, they cleaned up something somehow and repaired the image, and the music was better.
The higher price unit, by the way, has the latest AKM, I think it's 4491 DAX or something. To be honest with you, Rich is going to bring that up and we're going to listen to it. It sounds so good right now. I don't know if there's going to be $2,000 worth of difference.
Right.
I mean, it's just, you're reaching a point, in my opinion, of diminishing returns. It is so good now.
Yep.
But
Detail.
whether it's $3,000 or $5,000, if you figure 8 channels worth of any kind of reasonable DAX and all the DSP and everything else, it's not cheap, but it's not audiophile ripoff range.
It's not out of line.
Right.
Yep. There was a whole big hall for headphones. There was a whole big hall for vinyl. Much more many more turntables in use in the demonstrations this year. Like 100 to 200% more. Like a third, at least a third of the people were using turntables as a source. Thought that was interesting. So that's all I got to say about Axpona. I mean, more to come. Anybody else? Well, I think it's time to start our meeting. Our main presenter is Ken Wax, who goes to CES. He's a brave fellow. And he finds all the coolest stuff to talk to us about. It's always great fun to have Ken talk to us. Ken, floor's yours.
Thank you very much, Nick. Yeah, I've been going since my first show was Chicago in 1987 when they were having their spring show in Chicago and their winter show in Las Vegas. Then they consolidated into one huge show in Las Vegas that used to be billed as the largest trade show in the United States. So just give me a moment to launch. So welcome all to CES 2024, a show that my impression was there were less of unexpected novel products than there were incremental changes. The key terms for 2024 were AI and robotics. Companies that weren't in AI and robotics somehow twisted their product descriptions to shoehorn themselves at least into AI. Anyone with a clever algorithm now is artificially intelligence driven. So as usual, I searched the show for the unusual and the quirky in audio, video, and beyond. This is a multi-screen welcome sign made up of a lot of essentially abutted television screens. It's in the West Hall, which opened about 2 years ago and ended up expanding the Las Vegas Convention Center by about a third. The largest exhibits at the show continue to be Samsung, Sony, and LG. LG has the sweet spot at the show near the entrance to the Las Vegas Convention Center Central Hall, with, I would estimate, a half an acre of floor space. The LG entrance booth is usually a showstopper with an enormous display. This is the LG exhibit, but this is CES 2020. So they took a bunch of televisions that they were able to bend, and they fashioned a 100-foot canopy consisting of a few hundred 55-inch OLED organic light emitting diode LG TVs mounted about 15 feet above the booth entrance, and one huge video played across each TVs. Here we go to 2023. Here is a curved array of 280 55-inch LG TVs, again showing one enormous video and framing the entrance to their exhibit. And now let's see what they did this year. This year they introduced transparent televisions, so watch this video. I hope you're able to see that the televisions are changing from opaque to transparent with overlay graphics. Were you able to pick that out, Alvin? Can you confirm you could see that?
Yeah, I could. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what's unique.
Well, I had the same question, but LG certainly thought it was. They put, I would guess, probably a few 100,000 into that. But they certainly got our attention. So a bit about the show. This is the audited number of attendees. I just got these numbers a few weeks ago from the Consumer Technology Association. So it didn't quite match the peak in 2020. And by the way, the largest consumer electronics show has been in Berlin, IFA, the international television show that was actually started by Albert Einstein in the 1920s as the International Radio Show. It drew a peak of 250,000 at the same time that CES peaked in 2020. The number of exhibits had slumped at CES to around 2,000 at the height of the pandemic, and it's slowly coming back. And you could see that CES divides they asked their exhibitors to categorize themselves into one of 44 categories. Here are some of the categories with more products than others, and the ones that are getting more attention, especially things like, of course, artificial intelligence, but also the various realities, augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality. I think they all have roles to play, both in gaming and in real world of field service. And the others you're probably familiar with. Internet of Things, everyone likes to bandy around that word. Internet of Things is not necessarily things connected to the internet, and it's not necessarily novel things. It could be things like sensors, like displays, user interfaces. And it may be connected to a local network, not to the real internet. But the Internet of Things was a term coined by professor at the MIT Media Lab about 20 years ago. It was sort of dormant until about 5 years ago, and suddenly the marketing gurus and consumer electronics latched onto it. Audio and video, which had traditionally been the mainstays of traditional consumer electronics, was still present. However, the emphasis, as you'll see in my survey of products, was more on signal processing than on audiophile quality. So let's now do a random walk. I'll be the leader, and I'll show you what caught my attention in the show. So first we turn to the category of audio, and here is audio product from Mojawa. It is bone conduction headphones, supposedly billed as ideal for athletes, swimmers, office workers, or people with sensitive ears. These bone conducting headphones cost $130 to $300.
Mojawa, the next generation bone conduction headphone. Running with the beats and rhythm. No compromise on receiving the sounds of the great nature. Built with the smartly engineered algorithm and hardware, Mojawa offers the best bone conduction connectivity and unparalleled voice interaction experience.
Siri, navigate me to my office.
Getting directions to your office.
Being connected is vital for both family and business, physically or digitally. Mojawa empowers an amazing user experience like never before. Catch up on the great podcast while keeping ears on every single move of your beloved one. More than just an outstanding gadget, Mojawa is all about smart engineering and dedication to making life better.
The technology is Bluetooth that links the headphone with the cell phone. The manufacturer claims it has, quote, quality bass with, quote, hepatic experience and nuanced vibrations. The top line model adds 32 gigabytes of MP3 storage, an 8-hour playtime, and real-time monitoring with alerts, including heart rate monitoring, accelerometer pressure, optical wear detection. It claims to have real-time monitoring of pace, steps, laps, calories, distance, and so forth. It's got adjustable equalization via an app. And of course, AI training program for a post-workout analysis. Next, we go to another audio product, this by Noom, AWM, which is part of NTT, Nippon Telephone and Telegraph, which is the Japanese large telecommunications company. Noom was started in 2021. That's NWM, which is pronounced Noom. And this is billed as an alternative to bone conduction headphones, coming in at a price between $60 and $180.
Introducing our Noom brand of wireless on-ear speakers. I'm Iwase, in charge of development at NTT Sonority. Our mission is to improve lives with sound. Our sound technology, cultivated over many years, enriches the sound experience. Concentrating on so-called good sound is not the only way to enjoy sound. This is our Noom MBE001 model. It's an advanced device that allows you to hear a variety of sounds in harmony without blocking your ears or causing sound leakage. Since the ear canals remain open, ambient sound is naturally audible and won't be lost. Plus, our unique personalized sound zone technology cancels out any sound leakage with sound waves in the opposite phase, minimizing sound leakage. Natural sound from vibrating air rather than bone conduction enables clear conversation and compatibility with ambient sound as if it were background music. Here are the features of the Noom MBE001. First of all, they are open ear, so you can still hear ambient sound while wearing them. Your voice will not be muffled, so when making a call, you can speak as naturally as if you were there. Easily communicate with someone else while wearing the device, even if you are both listening to different music. The distinctive PSZ function traps sound and prevents sound leakage, so it can be used in public spaces without concern. The driver is positioned on the top, creating a unique sound like background music pouring down from the sky for an even more captivating experience. Enjoy a new world of sound with Noom.
So did you catch their pitch? That tearing sound by vibrating the air seems to be in their mind novel. I find that amazing. So as you can see, it rests on the upper part of your ear, hovering just above the ear canal. Their pitch for PSZ is personalized sound zone, which they claim limits sound leakage, quote, that only you can hear, unquote. Whoops. You can continue to hear ambient sound, and the solution, according to them, is open-ear speakers that let in ambient sound while keeping what's playing private for your ears only, creating a world where you control the sounds you hear. And the upcoming software will include event detection, sound filtering, and more. Another audio product, this time from Avatronics, a company located in Lausanne, Switzerland, and Steyr, Denmark. This is active noise canceling circuits that can be used for earbuds and headphones, and could also apply in transportation for in-seat noise cancellation. Maybe it'll be a solution on our long air flights. It's supposedly ideal for athletes, swimmers, and office workers, people with sensitive ears. And the AVA technology costs $130 to $300. So this is technology to be embedded in earbuds or headphones. So you're watching a technical analysis of noise reduction on different products. First, this is the ambient noise without noise reduction. ANC is automatic noise cancellation. Jabra is a Danish manufacturer of headsets sold worldwide. So that's the product they're promoting, their design. So the technology they're offering is called True Wireless Stereo, a TWS, to be embedded in earbuds. They claim they have a wideband solution with a minimum of 3 kilohertz guaranteed for noise reduction. And would you believe that they say their technology is based on, guess it, artificial intelligence? It's an AI-based technique implemented in the form of a, quote, very light, deep neural network. can adapt the ANC to the particular environment and achieve optimum automatic noise cancellation, or ANC. At least 30 dB noise reduction is achieved at all frequencies less than 100 hertz with above 100 hertz with 50 dB reduction, quote, in the most sensitive frequency range of human ears. Next is an audio processing company called Gaudio. This is a product that can be used to isolate vocalists and specific instruments in a group performance. Obvious application is karaoke, but it also can be used to cancel noise. And guess what? It uses AI to extract high-quality accompaniments for songs.
'Cause I'm in the stars tonight. So watch me bring the fire, set the night light. Shoes on, get up in the morning, cup of milk, let's rock and roll. Kink out, kick the drum, rolling on like a rolling stone. Sing song when I'm walking home, jump up to the top of the brown. Ding dong, call me on my phone.
So here you see the processing on the instrument.
In the stars tonight.
So they've isolated the various instruments.
Skies are light, so we dance to the breakdown.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got the medicine, so you should keep your eyes on the ball.
This is getting heavy. Can you hear the bass? Boom, I'm ready. Levies, chillins, honey. Yeah, this picture ching like money.
The company claims they outperform Sony. Notice they were bringing the voice in and out of the instrument mix. So they claim they outperform Sony, Meta, and Deezer, D-E-E-Z-E-R, on signal-to-noise distortion ratio. They claim they need low computational complexity, and they use, guess it, AI, source separation, for real-time noise canceling. Next is Nomono Company, headquartered in Trondheim, Norway. It's a technology used to create podcasts from interviews where the interviews are in less than ideal environments. Sorry, this shouldn't have happened. Try this. Here's Nomono in action.
Okay, so Christopher, where are we now?
Right now, we're still in Oslo, but this time we're outside of the train station on a square where we have the famous tiger and a lot of tourists and also some birds flying around.
And we got buses, trams, and yeah, this is a very typical like in-city noise environment.
Yeah.
And I guess what really makes it possible for us now to record this, to do this, to set up the sound capsule, one click, press record, and then one click in the web app and get professional sound is
Well, it's the ecosystem and the fact that we have a product, a hardware product, and also the cloud solution with our enhancement. So the marriage between those is what we believe is the magic here.
Yep.
So just enabling you to make recordings in pretty much any environment like this one is a good opportunity for creativity as well.
with zero technical knowledge. Like it's literally just button clicks and that's it.
And this is the other example we wanted to show you. So now we're off to the next location.
Yep.
And that's it. That's a wrap.
The voice sounded like they just cut off the high frequencies. What if you were to try to enhance those voices on playback to make it sound more natural? Would that destroy the processing of the monono?
I haven't tried it. I don't know. They claim that they're enhancing voices and removing noises with, hold on to your hat, AI-powered audio processing. So they claim this is very sophisticated stuff.
Well, they sort of remove the high frequencies.
Yeah.
And of course, the low frequencies.
Says their processing adjusts the ambience and spatially distributes voices to provide immersive experiences with exceptional audibility. They use object-based audio and recordings where individual sources like voices, instruments, or sound effects are stored in its own audio file and accompanying metadata that defines levels, panning, and much, much more. Objects are then mixed and rendered for the playback environment. Metadata embedded in the podcast can help render the performance on the listener's equipment. So obviously they're saying it's much more than just filtering. So we're going to turn now to another category of products that caught my eye at the show, namely energy management. The next product is, Witricity. Witricity was founded in 2006 by MIT professor Marin Solyachik. The company is based here in Watertown, and its product billed as, quote, the cure for charge anxiety. It basically is a pad that is magnetically coupled to a receiving device underneath the car engine to charge electric car batteries, and also batteries in what are a new category of electric vehicle called NEV, neighborhood electric vehicles. These are low-speed vehicles like golf carts that run under 25 miles an hour. And they're pitching this as sales to fleet managers. Witricity has been in business 15 years. It holds 1,300 patents with 500 more pending. And their technology is called the Witricity Halo, H-A-L-O, their trademark term for a receiver in the electric vehicle. The cost is $2,500 initially, and it's projected to fall.
Ken, a question on that. When you look at the amount of power necessary to recharge an EV, and you're looking at the distance between the floor and the car, how do they control the fields?
Just watch this video. They claim they have the answer right here.
Okay.
Next
Here
question.
at CES in Las Vegas 2024. What Witricity does is deceptively simple. We are able to charge electric vehicles over distance. That means if you want to charge your EV, all you have to do is park. You don't mess with any wires, you don't fuss around with cables. All you do is park, walk away, and your vehicle is charging. The number one misconception we get is, oh, wireless charging, it can't possibly be as efficient as the plug. And that is absolutely not true. And in fact, the part of the system that is most efficient is that air gap between charging pad and receiver. That's about 99% efficient. So you don't have to compromise when you use wireless charging in terms of speed or efficiency. In terms of safety, our system meets or exceeds all emissions criteria because we're really using magnetic resonance. It's tightly coupled, contained between the ground pad and the receiver. So there's not random acts of emission going on out there. So it is very, very safe and very effective. One of the things that we're showing for the first time at CES this year is wireless charging for golf cars, or as they're also called, low-speed vehicles. And these vehicles are a class of vehicles that are quickly emerging as alternatives to cars. So Bringing a platform for this class of vehicles for wireless charging is brand new, and it's a really exciting thing we're getting a lot of attention for this week. There's a fair number of consumers today that don't want an EV because they feel it will make them compromise in how they think about fueling, charging, or just getting around. Wireless charging really takes away the compromise element and makes EVs just the powerful, fun, efficient, and eco-friendly opportunity for all of the transportation you need to have.
So the claim is that the magnetic coupling creates the efficiency for charging the car. They are licensing 3 kilowatt, 6 kilowatt, and 11 kilowatt systems. They claim they can scale up to 450 kilowatts. The transfer efficiency, 90 to 93% between the grid and the battery. And they could also transfer power through wood, stone, granite, gypsum, wallboard, plastics, textiles, glass, brick, and concrete.
Sounds like the induction stoves that are becoming more and more common in homes.
Yeah, I think induction does use a magnetic coupling between the stainless steel of the pot and the coil under the glass. I think you're right. So let's turn to another energy management device. This is for charging devices at much smaller scale than electric vehicles within a room. OCR Power has been around a number of years, and they simulated a house with a living room and a study and delivered the following power.
Imagine a world where you never have to think about charging your devices. No more plugging chargers into a wall socket. No more replacing batteries. This is the true meaning of wireless power.
This is a Red
Imagine a day
Washington
when your phone
company.
will start charging as soon as you step into your home. Your TV remotes, video game controllers, tablets, smartwatches, fitness bands, even your smoke detectors will continuously work without running out of power. Imagine walking into your favorite coffee shop, an airport, your office, even a train, and your phone starts charging. With Coda technology by Osia, it's here. Your phone and other devices will automatically charge in your hand, pocket, purse, on your coffee table, wherever. So what is Coda? Coda is effortless. A Coda charger can power a household or office environment similar to the way Wi-Fi works. No plugs, no cables, no hassles. Coda is safe. It uses the same frequency as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, powering devices continuously while avoiding you and all other obstructing objects. Coda is intuitive. It automatically charges all devices to full capacity, and it decides what needs more power when. Coda is clean. It only delivers power when something needs power, unlike conventional wall chargers that are constantly drawing current. Coda is small. Its receiver is a microchip that can be embedded into virtually any device, even standard-sized batteries. Just think, a battery that never runs out. Coda is enabling. It's rewriting the rulebook on how we power devices, freeing innovators to take technology to the next level. With the growing number of electronic connected devices demanding power to operate, we have truly become a power-hungry society. It's time to rethink the way we utilize power and protect our environment. With Coda by Osia, the possibilities are truly endless.
So the claim is that it operates at around 30% of a wired charger and 50% when using the charging table to deliver about 1 watt to devices being charged. The technology includes a beacon signal to find the Coda power transmitter, so it's not just blasting and dissipating power throughout a room. Devices identify themselves to the transmitter, and the transmitter attempts to beam the power to the device being charged. So there's a conversation going on between the device and the transmitter about 100 times per second, in order to send power safely to devices at a distance even while the receiver is in motion. And as a result, all the CODA-enabled devices receive power simultaneously, even if the signal is bouncing off the walls in order to avoid humans. It uses a patented smart antenna technology. Another charging technology, which is very amenable for charging devices using ambient indoor light. It's called the power foil. It's a flexible solar cell developed by a Swedish company called Exeger.
PowerFoil is a groundbreaking innovation within solar cell technology. A unique material that is charged by indoor and outdoor light and can be integrated into any device or product to make it fully light-powered. The three most important benefits of PowerFoil are energy. PowerFoil harvests electricity from all forms of light and supplies products with clean, endless energy. Just check the companion app to see how much your device is charged. From sunshine and cloudy skies to artificial indoor light. That's the great thing about PowerFoil. If there's light, it charges. It provides endless energy. Sustainability. No more charging cables means less waste. By using any light source, your products will run on the cleanest energy possible. Our vision is a future where PowerFoil contributes to endless sustainability. Freedom. Whether you're indoors or out in the sunshine, it doesn't matter. You'll never have to worry about charging or cables. It's simply designed for life. So go off-grid and experience endless freedom. So let's dive into the details. PowerFoil is an evolution of the third generation of solar cells, called dye-sensitized solar cells. This means the entire visible cell is an active area. It's lightweight, flexible, durable, and can be seamlessly integrated into any device. PowerFoil has been in development for 12 years. Inside our lab, it has undergone innovations, testing, and improvements to ensure that it continues to make a real impact in high-performance products worldwide, all to keep you charged up and free to roam. Because a product that charges with light is not only better for you, it's also better for the environment.
This product really caught my eye. I like it because I'm having to keep a stock of AA and AAA batteries for all the remotes I have. Applications beyond remote control units can be sensors, headphones, speakers, e-readers, computer peripherals like a wireless mouse and wireless keyboard. It could even be applied to clothing. The charging power available depends on the surface area and the light level. It typically delivers under a watt to charge a battery. But it would be great to get rid of all the batteries. I actually have a handheld calculator, a very small 3x4-inch calculator that has a photocell in it. And I've never changed the battery, and I've had this gadget for about 20, 25 years. So this concept of this technology makes a lot of sense. So for larger scale charging, like charging a car in a garage, we have the OTEV. The OTEV is a robot that carries its own battery and goes around a garage charging cars by plugging into them. The cost is about $500. There's no additional upfront installation or monthly cost.
As the number of electric vehicles on our roads increases, so does the need for charger-accessible parking spots. Instead of having to create more EV-specific spots, parking garage operators could soon utilize OTEV charging robots that come to people's cars. Designed by a Seattle-based startup of the same name, the AutoBot is basically a big battery on wheels. It autonomously makes its way to a user's electric car, or other type of EV, when hailed by that person via an app. That vehicle can be located at any parking spot within the garage, EV dedicated, or otherwise. Once the robot arrives, the user just plugs its charging cable into their vehicle's charging port, then leaves it to get the job done as they run their errands, etc. When they return, they unplug the bot's cable, allowing it to head back to its own charging station within the garage. If the user gets back early and wants to leave before charging is complete, they can either reduce the desired charging capacity via the app, or just manually unplug the robot's cable. The robot supports DCFC fast charging technology, and is capable of charging up to 6 vehicles before needing to get recharged itself. It is hoped that fleets of the bots will be commercially available to garage operators by the first quarter of next year. Those operators will pay a monthly fee and receive revenue both from customer charging fees and advertising on the robots.
So I guess the real question with this device is it cheaper to put in a fleet of these in a garage than to wire the garage and install charging heads. So another robot to look at is quite different. And this will be sort of self-explanatory. This is the Rich Tech robot. So obviously this is a robotic barista called Adam. It not only makes the beverage, it takes the order, it prepares the product and delivers the product. The company also makes robots that provide table service with delivery of food in a restaurant, hotel room services, and industrial cleaning services.
So first of all, it has cameras in the front, so you see someone came up. So it'll have a welcoming message of some kind, say, hey, welcome to so-and-so's shop, or welcome, would you like a drink, or something like that. And it prompts the customer to engage like a normal barista would. So then you can ask the robot, hey, what do you have? If you have some specials or something like that. And the robot can engage and take an order that way.
So in case you missed that, you're looking at a $180,000 robot.
It's great. This is a hazelnut latte. The robot made it all on its own. It tastes great. Very foamy, very cold. Really nice.
It was a period in history, though, in the 16th century. Back then, coffee houses were not just places to enjoy coffee, but also...
There you go.
Great.
And the robot was making real
really
beverage.
Just like it was made by, anybody, not really a robot.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
So next we have a different scale of robot. This is a very small robot designed for the home. Welcome to Vector. a robot of Digital Dream Labs. It can recognize people and objects using a variety of sensors. Costs about $400. Some of its functions, like voice recognition, require a $10 monthly subscription.
You're looking into the eyes of a robot, and he's looking back at you. He's curious about who you are and what you're up to. This is Vector. This is a video about Vector. There's got to be a huge amount of code inside the robot. That code creates his intelligence and his personality. Autonomous like a Mars rover, aware enough to avoid falls like a tightrope walker, and always excited to welcome you home like a loyal companion.
What's up, Vector? Jason.
Vector's no slouch roommate either. He's happiest when he's helping out. Ask him the weather, and he'll show you. He can set a timer and cause a commotion when it's finished. Activate robot alarm. And he can answer your questions.
Definition of life, the characteristic state in the world of living.
He's a little robot who brings a lot to your house. He's also a little robot with nearly 700 parts. That one right there, that's his soul part. Okay, I made that one up, but the little guy's got soul. Did I mention he likes to be pet?
Oh.
I know. That is delightful and entertaining. You officially live in a time when robot sidekicks are a real thing.
Hey, Vector, give me a fist bump.
Vector is ready to live in your house. Or at least he will be after this nap. Sweet robot dreams, buddy.
So it includes an HD camera, 4 microphones, a touch sensor, an accelerometer, and a text-to-speech. And it charges itself when needed. Includes a high-resolution display. It avoids obstacles when moving. And its brain is, a lot of it is local, and some uses cloud processing. Next, diving more into artificial intelligence is what I guess every parent needs. This is from a Swiss and Spanish company. This is artificial intelligence to figure out what's bothering your infant. I guess parents through the millennia haven't been as good as an AI-based machine to, quote, boost parental confidence, relieve parental stress, and provide effortless infant care solution.
Our innovation solves a problem that a lot of people experience. Young parents are often overwhelmed by the arrival of their newborn. Baby crying is the first language newborns use to communicate, and misunderstanding the message can generate frustration on both sides. Even though cries sound different depending on the language of the parents, the meaning of those cries are universal and identical around the world. Babies cry the same way to express 5 basic needs: being hungry, sleepy, fussy, have stomach pain, or overstimulation. Sandrine developed the baby translator based on AI. This solution translates babies' cries into a particular baby need. Like all AI, it feeds on data to become more accurate, in this case, data being baby cries. We improve the accuracy of the baby translator by collecting more data. So what is the near future for the baby translator? The recognition of baby needs is only the beginning in the field of health prevention. Now, we're exploring new horizons expanding to Spain, Germany, Italy, and Hong Kong. In the next years, Sandrine will be able to use baby cries as a biomarker to support the early detection of pathologies or neurodevelopmental disorders such as autism, hearing disorders, hyperactivity, and others.
So this technology is called deep learning, sound-based, claims to be more accurate than any other competing technology. The device is installed 3 to 5 feet from the infant, and the analysis is done in the cloud via Wi-Fi and internet. And it uses acoustic multi-stage interpreter, electroencephalography signals, regional cerebral oxygen saturation, and other parameters. So they claim.
How is it measuring those?
beats me since it's just listening, unless it's actually somehow detecting brain waves because it claims it's doing an EEG.
Right. You have to hook up your baby with wires.
So if they got a way to do EEG just by listening, that's quite a breakthrough. So another health product now, this is claimed to be a device to reduce stress.
How do you want to feel today? Meet Apollo, the first wearable that actively helps your body beat stress for better focus, sleep, and more. Apollo empowers you to choose how you want to feel by delivering gentle waves of vibration, clinically shown to rapidly restore your body's natural balance. How does it work? Just put on your Apollo, select your goal in the app, experience the waves, and feel good. Apollo's effectiveness is rooted in neuroscience. When we're stressed, our fight or flight response kicks in, making it hard to focus and sleep. Apollo rapidly restores balance to the nervous system by sending gentle waves of vibration that signal safety to the body through your sense of touch, offering you control over your stress so you can tackle whatever comes next. The technology is new, but it feels familiar. Apollo's waves work with our body's natural response to touch. It feels like a hug on a bad day, a deep breath of ocean air, or your favorite song. Developed by physicians and neuroscientists, trials repeatedly show that Apollo increases cognitive performance, focus, and heart rate variability. Each program is designed to help you reach your goals. From over 2,000 Apollo users, over 90% report enhanced productivity, focus, and sleep. Other wearables only track your body. Apollo is the first ever to empower you to change it. Welcome to the next generation of wearable technology that actively improves your mental and physical health. Choose how you want to feel and take control of your health with Apollo.
They claim 40% less stress and feelings of anxiety, up to 25% more focus and concentration, 11% increase in heart rate variability to be resilient to stress, and up to 30 more minutes of sleep. How does it work? Quote, delivers gentle, soothing vibrations called Apollo Vibes, V-I-B-E-S, that are like music your body can feel. Higher vibrations improve your energy and focus, while lower vibrations reduce stress, help you relax, and fall asleep. The company is run in part by a board of advisors that includes psychologists, psychiatrists, neurologists, and medical doctors.
18-year-old Jameson Reserve also helps reduce your stress quite a bit.
Okay. You mean some booze?
Yeah, some of the right booze.
Okay, the right booze. The stuff on the top shelf. So next we have sound, not for you, but for your pets. This is Pet Therapy Sound System. That's a registered trademark using Bluetooth from a company called Headwaters Incorporated, located in Marblehead, Massachusetts.
Life can be stressful for your pet. Changing work schedules, loud neighborhood noises, a new home, or traveling to new places. This pet anxiety can reduce the quality of their sleep, hurt their general health, and interfere with the special relationship between you and your pet. The Sound Oasis Pet Sound Therapy System, BST8020P, was developed to help your pet relax and sleep better by creating a comforting sound environment made just for them. Your pet will not only feel soothed by these sounds, but the sounds will help block out annoying or frightening sounds that can interfere with their sleep. This unique pet therapy system includes 20 built-in sounds that play continuously. The soundtracks are doctor-composed and chosen with pets in mind, leading to greater effectiveness. Unlike other sound machines and white noise machines, the BST 8020P also works as a Bluetooth speaker, so your pet can enjoy new music or sound content from your smartphone, tablet, or other Bluetooth devices up to 30 feet away. Simply switch between built-in sounds or Bluetooth stream sounds by pressing one button. You can even download new sounds from the Sound Oasis website and install them on the removable micro SD card for infinite sound possibilities. No other sound machine in the world combines this level of sound quality and sound customization to deliver the very best sound therapy experience for your pet. The BST 8020P is so compact that it fits in the palm of your hand. So it's ideal for traveling, yet its big bass sound is able to fill your pet's room with sound. It's rechargeable for wireless freedom, or you can keep it plugged in with the included USB charge cable. So take control of your pet's sound environment and let the BST 8020P help your pet get the sleep and relaxation their body needs.
It's what every dog needs is good bass sound, I guess. The claim is it helps your pet relax and sleep better by creating a comfortable sound environment made just for the pet. It's perfect for helping pets deal with separation anxiety, new homes, thunderstorms, or neighborhood noise. Cost is $50. Next, we turn to video. This is actually a video that you can customize through an array of tiles. You'll see these are modular thin tiles planned that incorporate micro LEDs that can be, you can view multiple sources on one large screen or one huge image like you see here. The manufacturer is megapixels.
This gives a new definition to the term megapixel. This is the megapixel wall that Savant is offering. It's huge, it's cool, it's made up of micro LED tiles, and it's surprisingly different than others I've seen because it's got a glossy finish, which makes it feel more like a TV. I kind of like it. I like the way he carries it out like a serving tray.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's the panel right there.
That's it?
Yeah.
It's like a tile that you'd install like, and put like a,
Exactly.
like it feels like a ceramic tile,
Exactly.
but lighter, much lighter.
It's intended to be like that, right? To think of it as a building material, as an architectural canvas that you can cover a wall with.
And here's the thing, you can't see the pixels, and that's one thing I noticed. You really can't see the pixels unless you're super close.
It's a 0.8 millimeter dot pitch.
I just gonna ask.
Yeah.
It's a 0.8 millimeter dot pitch. But that really was easy. That's cool. All you need is a whole bunch of these to make one of these. Oh, how cool is that? Top Gun never looked better. This is the new megapixel wall that Savant is offering, and it's another micro LED panel. It's huge, it's big, it's bright. It's got glossy panels, which makes it look more like a TV. Up close, you can kind of see the glossiness, lets you see the panels better, but from not very far back, it looks like a ginormous TV, and it's a lot of fun. I like it.
It has 78 bits per pixel. The tiles are about 2 feet by 2 feet, uses magnetic connectors. It allows up to 8K resolution, that's 8192 by 4320, with an ultra-wide viewing angle up to 140 degrees. Next. Next, we have quite an innovative product that's basically closed captioning in real time built into glasses. This won the Consumer Technology Association Foundation Award for products that enhance the lives of people with disabilities or older adults. This is called Xander, the company making it is Spark 23 Corporation.
Device created right here in Somerville, right here in the area. It could be a big help to those who are having trouble hearing. How it could change the game when it comes to communication for those with hearing loss. Noise is all around us, but what if you couldn't hear any of it? A Somerville entrepreneur is looking to bring those with hearing loss back into the conversation.
We're trying to caption the world.
Alex Wessner is the co-founder of Xander and creator of these closed captioning glasses.
You put on a pair of glasses and you'll start to see real-time subtitles or captions of what other people are saying to you.
Using augmented reality and proprietary software, your conversation pops up on the lenses.
Had a nice drive in this morning. No traffic on 93. That was a treat.
According to the National Institute of Deafness, about 14% of adults ages 20 to 69 have some form of hearing loss. Wessner has a long history in the field of audio technology and realized not being able to hear can lead to other problems beyond sound.
Not hearing is a problem. Not understanding is a deeper problem. And not understanding for a long period of time leads to people to start to withdraw.
Wessner and his partner Marilyn recently showed off their product at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and they say the response was overwhelming.
We had 3 rows deep of people trying to try out our product. It was just intense. It was amazing. It blew away our expectations.
The glasses currently operate on a 3-hour battery and can be used right out of the box. No apps or phone involved.
And they would try the glasses and we would start talking and then they would see the captions and you could see the expression on their face was just part shock, part amazement, part joy. There were some people with like crying and showing tears. I mean, that's inspiring.
Inspiring indeed, and truly a game changer for so many. Wessner says Xander is doing a pilot program with the VA since veterans are disproportionately affected by hearing loss. No cost has been set yet, but they're hoping to have the glasses in the general market at some point this year.
The founders are from the MIT Media Laboratory and Harvard Business School. The technology is a form of AR, that's augmented reality. The translation is done locally without any cloud services in order to protect privacy. And I think that was one of the neater products I saw at the show. Next, a device that claims to offer privacy for audio conversations in public spaces. It's called Skited. It's a face mask that allows confidential conversations and, quote, private conversations with comfort.
If you're frequently making confidential phone calls, putting your hand over your mouth and whispering is a far from ideal means of maintaining privacy. That's exactly where the Skited silent mask is intended to come in. Sort of like a wearable version of the cone of silence from the TV series Get Smart, the Skited is manufactured by a French startup of the same name. And while the legitimacy of similar products has been questioned in the past, this one was actually designed in partnership with Airbus, the European Space Agency, and France's Honora National Aerospace Lab. In fact, the device utilizes the latter group's Leonard, or long elastic open neck acoustic resonator, lining material, which was first created to muffle the sound of jet engines. When used in the mask, the Leonard tech is claimed to absorb 80% of the user's voice frequencies. An integrated mic picks up the user's voice inside the mask and transmits it to their iOS or Android smartphone via Bluetooth. The user hears the other person through their own third-party headphones or earbuds. And while the mask does also keep external noises from drowning out the sound of the user's voice, an electronic boosting system can be utilized to increase the transmitted volume of their voice when needed. And yes, there is a ventilation system which reportedly allows the user to breathe freely. Additionally, if the user needs to talk to someone located nearby while in the midst of a phone call, they can temporarily mute the call and allow their voice to be heard through the mask's external speaker. 1.5-hour charge of the mask's lithium battery is claimed to be good for approximately 10 hours of use. The SkyTED Silent Mask is currently the subject of a Kickstarter campaign. Assuming it reaches production, a pledge of $199 will get you one. The planned retail price is $799.
The SkyTED includes a 10-hour battery with 1.5 hours needed to recharge. There's a dynamic volume control of the voice. It's available in 5 face sizes, and it pairs with a smartphone via Bluetooth and analog audio or USB-C connector. The next product is an enhancement of a product I showed about a year ago that claims it improves the audio intelligibility for people with incipient hearing loss. Mirai is a Japanese company, and their mission is to bring joy and confidence into everyday life. Their motto is sound-driven happiness creation. They claim it'll offer clearer television dialogue at home and sound quality. The cost is $254.
Do you have difficulty hearing dialogue on TV recently? As hearing changes with age, it can get harder to fully enjoy TV due to dialogue that often gets muffled amongst background noise. While most home audio systems help you enjoy the overall sound better, they aren't designed to help people understand dialogue clearly. Most people will increase the volume, but this often results in a louder sound overall that isn't necessarily clearer. Now introducing Mirai Speaker, developed by SoundFun in Japan. It is designed to help sharpen the clarity of speech over the background noise to understand dialogue better. Mirai Speaker's lightweight and simple design makes setup easy, ensuring you spend more time enjoying your favorite shows and less time wrestling with wires and complex guidelines. Mirai Speaker's audible wave technology changes the way sound reaches your ear. Unlike typical flat speakers, Mirai Speaker's curved speaker design elevates audio clarity. Say goodbye to high volume struggles. Our sound waves are engineered to reach every corner of the room, emphasizing spoken dialogue. Experience crystal clear hearing from anywhere in the room, with friends, family, and in your own time.
Join over 200,000 satisfied customers worldwide who are using Mirai Speaker today.
So the idea is you don't need higher volume if you have clearer speech. The device connects to a television via an optical or auxiliary port, and the technology employs curved diagrams to emulate the trumpet of the original mechanical phonograph because, quote, sound created by a phonograph is more easily heard by the elderly. So they say. So let's just do a brief look back, because there was a lot of nostalgic technology at the show. Here in the upper left, we see the Audio-Technica Analog Lounge. On the upper right, the Kodak brand is still being sold through various products not necessarily related to the original Kodak photography business. And here you may all recognize a 1970s loudspeaker from JBL. So all these were at the show, pitching older technologies and a bit of nostalgia. So here we have something from a company called Fuse Audio that I thought was kind of novel to round out the presentation. So, as you can see, it blends a little bit of nostalgia with newer technology. The price is $220.
I think they might have a problem coming up because they said it was ash wood and the emerald ash borer has wiped out most of the ash trees.
Oh. So a little bit of looking back. This was a special year because the trade association that that runs the Consumer Electronics Show was started, or its parent was started 100 years ago in 1924. So let's look back a bit. In 1919, General Electric and Westinghouse acquired the assets of American Marconi Wireless Company and formed the Radio Corporation of America. In 1924, the Radio Manufacturers Association was formed 5 years after RCA introduced the first commercial radio. The RMA helped develop radio and TV standards and helped shape the Radio Act, which was administered by the predecessor of the Federal Communications Commission. In 1950, the Radio Manufacturers Association became the Radio Television Manufacturers Association, or RTMA. In 1953, the RTMA became the Radio Electronics Television Manufacturers Association, the RETMA. In 1957, the RETMA became the Electronics Industry Association, or EIA, as you see here. In 1995, the EIA became the Consumer Electronics Manufacturers Association, CEMA. CEMA became the Consumer Electronics Association in 1999. In 2002, CMA merged, CEA merged, wait a moment, the CMA merged with the Home Automation and Network Association to become the Consumer Electronics Association, CEA. And in 2015, CEA became the Consumer Technology Association, CTA, reflecting the reality that every company is a tech company. So CTA is now 100 years old, or at least its predecessor is. So on this concluding slide, I'd like to thank you for listening to this virtual trip through the Consumer Electronics Association. And I leave you with a question. What do you think will be hot next year at the Consumer Electronics Show? Thanks very much. I appreciate the invite, Alvin.
You certainly figured out unusual items to present this time.
Well, the show is full of the unusual.
What fun. I'm guessing it's going to be AI.
Well, it certainly was this year, even if the AI scientists said it's a little stretch.
We're only starting.
I got a memo from MIT, and at the end of the memo, it says this was written by AI and reviewed by a human.
Yeah. They'll be dropping the human out of the loop, I think.
Yeah, that's a pretty serious thing. One of my nephews, for example, writes financial statements to report to shareholders. In part, they're farming out some of the routine work to lower paid people in India, but eventually there'll probably be a machine that does it.
One of the most interesting things that I saw, Ken, was the Xander glasses. In particular, here in Pennsylvania, one of our senators, Fetterman, had a stroke, and he has difficulty now with understanding words. And so wherever he goes, he has a tablet, and when people speak, it does the it converts it into text.
Well, actually, you should, if you know the guy, should tell him about this Xander. It may
I'm
help
going to
him.
do that because that would be phenomenal for him. He's a senator. He's all over the place. And to be able to go without carrying a tablet around would be huge for him.
I was very impressed by him. When he had the stroke, everyone assumed he was toast politically. And he bounced back and seems to be appreciated.
He seems to be doing a good job. He's no nonsense. A little strange, always wearing his shorts and everything, but a lot better than.
Oh, wasn't he the guy that got the Senate to pass the dress code?
Don't know. Didn't hear that. But he is different, let's say that. But he is down to earth and is trying to do right by the average person. So I am definitely going to send that link to him.
Yeah, he seems to be a cool guy.
So
Anybody
that's
else?
it for
Anything
this
else?
year.
Anybody have anything else they want to bring up? We're still looking for a new webmaster. I will help, hand it over and show you, train you, whatever, and what you have to do. It helps if you know a little bit of programming, but it's essentially a drag and drop kind of thing. It's written in HTML. There's an HTML editor on the website that we use that hosts it, and that's how I do it.
I actually am in the process of redoing my website to make it what's called responsive, so it adapts automatically to the size of screen, whether it's a desktop or a smartphone. Does the BAS site adapt to a smartphone?
I don't think so. Not to my knowledge.
So if you find someone that can take the HTML and make it responsive, let me know.
Huh. Yeah. Can't think of anything else. Anybody else? If not, we'll call it a day.
Thank you guys for another great meeting.
Thanks, Ken.
Very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll see you later.
Hey. Bye.